Hello. All right, guys, I'm doing Monday Moves for the first time on my YouTube channel. I hope you enjoy. I'm here in Casanova on the lake. If you follow me on social, then you know that this weekend I did the IRONMAN Musselman 70.3, and it's an amazing race. This weekend was probably the hardest triathlon, run, race, all those things that I've ever done. And if you want to know why, I'm going to tell you a couple things. The run was next level. Like, I've never experienced hills like this on a run. And I've done a lot of races for the past 10 or so years, and usually do the 70.3 distance. I've done Quasi and Connecticut 70.3, which are called also the Beast of the Northeast for the reason that they have these crazy hills. And yeah, race director crushed it, knocked it out of the park. These hills this weekend, bigger than the hills in Connecticut. So I think this needs to be named the Beast of the Northeast now. This is an awesome race. This is my third time doing it. I love it. I love it because it's beautiful in the Finger Lakes. The race starts in Geneva, you swim in Seneca Lake, and you ride in between Seneca Lake and Keuka Lake, and it's all through the wine country and beautiful, beautiful farms. The run is usually along the lakefront, and then usually hills, but they changed it this year, and so the hills were incredibly steep and long. So it's all good, you know, but it gets really hot. Like when you're on the run, it gets super hot. And it's really humid here. And the past 3 years that I've been here, this has been the deal. Usually starts raining on the run, which feels really great, but even that is not enough. And this year, it looked like it was gonna start lightning on the run, which really added another level of stress to my running up hills and surviving the heat. So the swim. So this year I did it as a relay, and I also did it as a relay last year. And I did it as a relay this year because I have an eye infection. Also why I'm wearing sunglasses, and I couldn't swim. So luckily my partner Lori was able to do the swim for me, and she was already signed up also to do the race, but she has been super busy with work and she hasn't been able to really train for the cycling or the run. So it really worked out. So Lori did the swim, and the swim here is typically very choppy, although there are occasions where it can be super flat. So it's, you know, it's a risk that you take. And the first year I did it, I literally thought for sure I was gonna die. It was so choppy. I felt like I was swimming in the ocean, which I definitely did not sign up for. But it was the first year after COVID, and I was just so psyched to have the opportunity to get back to sport. So I sucked it up. I swam hour and 8 minutes. And usually what I do, because I'm not really I'm a very nervous swimmer. So usually on the swim, I will swim from buoy to buoy, and I just count like as 100 meters. And then I just say to myself, you know, oh, it's just 4 laps in the pool. And I just do that the whole way. And then I stop at kayaks and talk to people in the middle of the lake or wherever I'm swimming. It just makes me feel good. And I'm not a pro triathlete, nor am I an elite athlete. And so I really don't care about my swim time. I just want to get the swim over with because I do care about my bike time and my run time, and I'm sure I should be doing duathlon, but I love triathlon and I love the Ironman brand, and so I continue to do Ironman 70.3. So the swim is usually choppy. The year I didn't do it, last year it was flat, and Lori said this year it was choppy about 500 meters out. So you don't really feel like it's going to be choppy, and then all of a sudden it gets choppy, but you're so far out, you just finish anyway. That's the swim. Then the bike. This is honestly, in my opinion, as a cyclist, as someone who loves getting some speed, I also love hills, but there's no hills. This is a great bike course. The roads are really good. They fixed them up last year. Ironman marks them, so it's really clear if you think you're gonna, you know, if you're going fast to avoid certain places in the road. It's just a really great bike ride, especially if you're on a TT bike and you want to break out some big wheels, because it's fast. It's fast and flat. 1600, 1650, I think, is the total elevation. But honestly, the headwinds and the tailwinds are what gets you, and the crosswinds. So even if you're breaking out some big wheels, you better be prepared to get blown. And if that's your kind of jam, then, you know, practice that. But for me, I love the tailwinds. And so I was going the fastest I've ever seen, like 24, just on a flat, 21, 22, 23, 24 miles an hour, not drafting, on a flat. It was so awesome. In the headwinds, I was like really frustrated. I thought I was bonking, you know, I didn't know what was happening. And then I realized it was a headwind because I looked over to my left and I saw white caps on the lake. So essentially for a big chunk of the ride, the lake is on the left. And the lake was turquoise, like the water in the Bahamas. Like, it was beautiful. So even though you're suffering, it's beautiful. So the bike went really well. I finished in 3 hours and 40 minutes. You know, my fastest time I think on that bike course is 3:30, but it was pretty windy. So I'm happy with that time. You know, I'm not a pro, I'm not an elite athlete. I'm just out here having fun. And so yes, the bike course was awesome. And then I got to the run and it was so hot. I don't even know. It was probably like 90 degrees. It was humid. And normally, you know, bike to run, your legs are a little tired. They're a little heavy. I couldn't get my legs moving. I couldn't get any turnover. I couldn't get my heart rate up. It was super low. And that was going on for about 1.5 miles, 2 miles. And I just kind of felt like, you know, maybe I didn't do the right nutrition on the bike, which I know I didn't. And I just, you know, I just kept going. And then I thought, oh, you know, this is going to be a slow run. Maybe I'll finish in 2 hours and 20 minutes, 2 hours and a half. So around mile 2.5, I see hundreds of people walking. And I'm like, oh, wow, that's weird. Like something happened, you know, somebody fell. I don't know. I thought, this is weird, right? I mean, you see people walking in Ironman and Ironman 70.3 triathlons, but not like everyone. So I got to this area and it was like the bottom of the hill and everyone was walking up the hill. And I'm like, I'm gonna run because I don't walk in races. Anyway, I walked. I was like, oh my God, this is mean. This is like mean, gut-wrenching, heart-wrenching, soul-crushing, mean. So I get to the top of the hill and I started running again. It's like hot. I see lightning on the horizon, but not lightning, but like it looked like it was going to start lightning. And in my mind, I was panicking. Then we like running on this flat and then another hill. I thought it was over. I thought maybe it would be rolling hills. It was like a straight up climb, like that. Like, anyway, everybody starts walking again. People are dying. People are not dying. Okay, I'm joking, not dying. People are just dead. They can't move. They can't run. People that look like seriously fast athletes. Anyway, top of the hill, right turn, and then it's like downhill again through like a weird forest. I definitely thought it was going to start lightning. So between the hills, the heat, and the threat of lightning on the horizon, I was kind of like praying that Ironman would cancel the race and come get me. Either that or I was calling an Uber. But no, you know, because you can't do that because you see people around you running and walking and racing. And, you know, people talk to you during an Ironman because, you know, they're walking or they're running slow. And, you know, one woman I was running with at one point said, you know, she spent all this money to come out here and she didn't care if it started lightning. She was going to finish the race. And I forgot that's why we do this stuff, you know, because you're here to challenge yourself and you're here to finish the race and you're going to do whatever it takes to get there because you train for it and you paid for it and you work for it. Anyway, she really motivated me because I was definitely like ready to mail it in. Then I get to, you know, so we do that twice. So there's 2 loops of torture. It was hot. It was humid. Definitely not easy. A couple of lessons I learned from this race that I'm constantly always learning, right? No matter how many races I do. And, you know, one lesson I learned is that, you know, no matter what you do, you can do all the training you want in the pool and you will be a great swimmer. But when it comes to swimming, for some people, it's mental. And you've got to get past that. And I tell myself that every race. Sometimes I do it, sometimes I don't. When it comes to cycling and biking during a 70.3, you really, really have to be mindful of your power, your speed, your heart rate, and not push it too much on the bike, because you will pay for it on the run, as I did. The other thing is, for me, my takeaway from the run is that I really didn't look at the race course at all. So had I known that I would be doing a 12 incline on the treadmill or a 20 incline on the treadmill over X period of time, I would have 100% trained that way. And, you know, that's on me, because I didn't do any research. I didn't look to see what the course was. I just assumed it would be what it was. And the other thing was my nutrition. You know, I've been doing lots of half marathons and run races and running events in the city, and I think I've pretty much nailed my nutrition for a run. It's totally different if you do a 56-mile bike before the run. So I totally messed up my nutrition on the bike, and I've got a lot of things to learn for the next time, and I hope you can learn from my experience of this race, because, you know, if you're a triathlete or runner or a cyclist, any of those things, like, nutrition is really important. Race recon is really important. Being mentally prepared and knowing and having the confidence that you did the work and the training is also really important. All right, guys, over and out. I hope you enjoyed this week's Monday Moves on my YouTube channel.